Right at it. Right at it.
Oh,
He's done it again. Just as he did at the John Deere for his first win.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 184 of the Go Get That podcast, special St. Patrick's Day episode. And no better way to celebrate than having Dan back on the show. How lucky we are. Basically, a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow joining us. So it's good to be back. It's an exciting week for Spieth fans as it's a place that he plays well at more times than not. Can't say that's necessarily the majority of tournaments, but it is good to be at a place where he has good mojo at and in a field where he can I don't know win is probably in the cards, but he certainly can play well at and contend. It's not a very good field. Big field of names. Ryan and I were talking about this. Big field of names, not necessarily huge field of great golfers, but a lot of players like JT, Spieth, Brooks, who are huge past major winners that aren't necessarily great players right now, but they're big names, and so the crowds will certainly be out for them. So cool week. Um, Definitely an above average course on tour. Don't think it's anything too crazy, but nothing too bad either. I like it. Don't love it. Don't hate it. Which is above average for tour standards. So yeah, it's a cool course. It's kind of almost looks a little bare in the fairways. You're not like not all the fairway lot. It's not necessarily a pure golf course. Like you're going to catch some breaks here, some breaks there. Hit it in the rough. You might find a dirt patch, but that's on purpose. That's how it's meant to be in the very hot Florida weather. So yeah, looking forward to Innisbrook this week, and hopefully we can build on for Valero and into the Masters.
Yeah, well said. It's good to have Dan back. We miss Dan very much. An integral part of the podcast when Bob or I aren't here.
Yes.
It's fine, but when Dan's not here, I mean,
Yes.
we're missing some top tier analysis. We love you, Dan.
Many fans went from episode 182 to 184.
Yeah, I mean, the views were down a little bit in the
Yeah,
early
they were.
goings, looks like, on the players
course.
recap. And that
Yes,
definitely wasn't for Spieth's poor performance. It was because Dan wasn't here.
of course.
But a happy St. Patrick's Day, as Bob said. I'm enjoying a Guinness. Bob's enjoying an alcoholic beverage. Why not? It's a great holiday.
It is.
Should be a national holiday in America. Why not? Even though it's an Irish holiday, we're going to celebrate too. Well
Dan
said,
should have got
Bob.
the day off.
Exactly. Dan should have got the day off. Don't
Yeah.
think that was in the cards.
No.
You got the podcast off last episode, so no day off at work. But yeah, happy to be back. Wrapping up a 3-week stretch at the Valspar back at Innisbrook, where our guy's a past champion over 10 years ago. Many moons ago, he conquered the Copperhead course. I did mention in the recap that magical 2015 season didn't get started. I mean, it got started, but it didn't. The first win didn't come until this week. That's not to say he's going to win 5 times this year. That's not going to happen. But a lot of events to go, and a place that's definitely special to Jordan. As it kickstarted that year, and I think I mentioned it, Bob, in our players recap. This is probably the best chance he's had all year to win a golf tournament. I know we'll get into my model in a little bit here, but it's the highest he is in the model. I think from a wagering standpoint, he's about 25 to 1. He hasn't had that good odds anywhere else. And the weaker field, leans into that. And it's a good week to be great and get some late afternoon tee times on the weekend.
Yeah, I appreciate the welcome in. Sorry to have missed the pod yesterday. It seems like, and maybe I wasn't able to quite catch up on all of it, but it seems like we weren't too pleased with last week.
I wouldn't say that necessarily.
Okay?
I think we understood that it was disappointing from a finish standpoint, based on how he played for the most of it. But I think we were very understanding that the statistical mills can kind of be thrown out, and that it is an above average performance for him at Sawgrass, and that there was a lot of good and there's definitely a lot of bad that could be fixed pretty easily. So the
Okay.
really only concern we had with last week was the driver not showing up
Yes.
again. So that's really all. That's really all I was upset with.
I no, I that's good. That's kind of how I'm feeling as well. I think last week was a it's hard to categorize a T32 as a good week.
Yeah,
But the putter statistics, if you just looked at the numbers, it's not accurate. I thought he putted pretty well last week, which he normally doesn't do. I thought he chipped it pretty well last week, which he normally doesn't do, around Sawgrass. Um, 4 straight weeks now, the iron play has gotten incrementally better each time. You mentioned Jordan 25 to 1 now in some spots. Data Golf has him 12th inside the top 12 in their model. Like, this is a guy that's trending. We've talked about how in the past, at least, he shows you when he's playing well or when he's going to continue to play well. And kind of shows you when wins are coming. And the eye test, the statistical profile outside of the occasional snap hook seems to suggest that we're getting pretty close to some successful, very, very successful weeks. So I'm excited. Another good test here. Should be a great week. I was just looking at the weather too, which we can get into a little bit later, but very, very pumped to finish another 3 week stretch off with the best finish of the stretch, but hopefully the best finish of the year to this point.
Good goal. That's all said. I mean, the goal, I think, is kind of what you outlaid, Dan. I think the best finish of the year would be a nice. I mean, he doesn't have a top 10 this year. He's got a T11 and a T12. Um, the top 10 best, numerical finish would be nice. I'm really chasing some after late afternoon tee times. I think I put it in our group chat yesterday. Can this week be successful if he's not contending? I don't know if it can. I mean, it can be a good week, but it's not, you're going upstairs here. I don't know how you get to another stair if you don't contend. I mean, he's kind of done the good golf T11, T12 numerous times this year. It's like, what's next after that?
yeah. The only
Yeah,
way I could see this week being successful in that way is if it's almost like just a little bit better of a cog last year where he's like there Friday, Saturday, makes a big number, then just doesn't catch up to the field. That's really the only way I could see this being a successful week without a chance to win on Sunday afternoon. But I don't know. I feel like this guy finds ways to hook us in even when he doesn't contend. And have us finding some pretty good things, as well as I mean, we call it as we see it. We're happy to give him crap when he deserves it as well. So, but who knows? I think that it's I don't know. I'm done. I'm done trying to predict the way these weeks go and whether it has to be a certain way or not, because Spieth finds really incredibly different ways to play 72 hole stretches.
yeah,
So. But I do think if it's not contention this week, there's a 95% chance this isn't a very happy podcast um on Monday.
yeah. I agree. I think the only way is if somebody has like the week of their life and the week of their career where where they're beating the field by five. And Spieth's in that next pack battling for third and second. And that's the only way that we are feeling like, oh, successful week. Like he played championship winning golf except for one dude or two guys. Like then I think you can card it to that. I mean, a top five is a top five, right? Like I think if you get a top five, that kind of screams some sort of contention. For the most part, unless you're early 2020s Rory or whatever it might be. But uh the I mean, all the signs point to a fantastic week upcoming. Like I just cannot be. I feel um, it's one of those times where it's not just my heart telling me it's going to be a great week. Like the brain and the eye test actually tell you it's going to be a good week. The concern with the bigger clubs, the driver, the 3 wood, Mr. Hybrid, which will probably be in the bag this week. Although, yeah, we'll see. I guess because it's been a little wet down there. It's supposed to dry out as the week goes on. So maybe it's Mr. 2 iron or whatever. But the um the snap hooks were penalizing at Mr. Sawgrass, and they can be penalizing here. Certainly not as much as the likelihood of making double around the Innisbrook course is maybe a little less than it is around Sawgrass. But at a tournament where you need to get to 10, 11, 12 under, making bogeys on holes that are, you know, uh, you're supposed to have 15, 20 feet for birdie, can be pretty demoralizing to a card and to your chances going into whatever the weekend rounds or coming down the stretch on a Sunday.
I
So,
mean, generous, Dan. I mean, snap hooks don't really play around any golf course, but I, I I think that the driving accuracy stat on Data Golf this week, which shows it being the most important part of um the bag, is a little misleading from the standpoint of yes, you have to hit fairways here, but there are a lot of non-drivers off the tee.
yeah,
There are a lot of holes where you have to hit irons, and you will be punished if you try and get aggressive with the club off the tee. I don't really see Spieth getting aggressive with clubs off the tee this week, knowing where his game is. Um, so that could be a good thing. However, for most, a hybrid is basically an automatic fairway for him. It's just as wild as his driver.
correct.
So,
I will say too, Jordan and I talked about this leading into the players about some folks maybe a little disappointed with the driver at the API, not hitting fairways on the par fives, etc. This is a good test for that. Like this is a big when you hit driver, if you hit it in the fairway, you have a significant advantage on that whole week. Because the only you think about the course, you're really hitting driver on the par fives, and you put it in the fairway, you've got a good chance to get to all of them in two, with the exception of 14 if it's blown into the wind or whatever it might be. But
That front one
the,
too. The is it five? That uphill par five?
oh yes,
That hole is
yeah,
a bear.
five's fair, but you can get there if it's downwind, right? So three of I guess a five's fair. Three of the um fives require some really good tee shots and um I'm trying to what's the one? One is pretty gettable kind of regardless. And
Yeah.
11 can be gettable regardless. But tee shots on 14 and 6 or excuse me 5 are big with the driver. 6 is another just brutal hole with that slant from right to left. Um so when driver will be played, it will be important for it to be hit well. Um despite all of some of the irons off the tee or the hybrids or 3 woods or whatever might be coming out of the bag this week.
Yeah, good points. I don't know what the heck to expect this week. Like I think he can miss the cut. I think he can contend. I don't know. There were just a lot of tee shots players that were concerning. I mean, from a statistical, point of view, he's lost off the tee in 4 or 5 events now. I think I told Bob in the recap I much rather him be gaining with the approaches and losing a little bit off the tee. I just think that typically works out more often than the other way around.
yeah.
But there were just some concerning tee shots at Sawgrass that, like, I don't know where his head is off the tee right now. I think Bob, you posted a little like practice round snippet from today in our group chat, and it's like I think he missed the first two tee shots on that hole. He was playing with Michael and then nailed the third one. It's like I get it's just a practice round, but there's clearly some, searching with the driver right now. I don't know if searching's the proper term or is it more just tuning up, but on the other hand, it seems like every other club in his bag, not named the driver in the off the tee games, in a pretty decent spot at the moment, which is pretty cool. It's usually whack-a-mole with this guy. I feel pretty good about the approach play, the around the green play, and the putting going into this week. And usually it's not like that. So I think it kind of speaks to your point, Dan, that the eye test is pretty good right now. If he can just get the tee balls in play, it could be a pretty fun week at the Copperhead course, if he can get that accomplished.
Yeah, completely well said.
It's interesting, or it will be interesting. The first 2 days, a little bit windy. Sun will be out. Course will start to dry up a little bit as we get into the weekend. So I think it's a little bit softer right now. Not as firm as the players ended up being, but it's a great test. In a lot of ways. I think there's some pretty narrow corridors, these fairways. Shots into greens definitely have to work it both ways into some of these greens. And then
Memento.
Oh, good.
ultimately these um uh this tournament becomes a putting contest
I agree.
is really what happens. I think if you look at the past 5 years, you got to be inside the top 10 in putting. Now, typically, that is not a good sign for the Texan. But this year, it's been a different story. I mean, the players, you look at the numbers and they're not great. But I think you hold 3 from off the green this week at the players with the flat stick and decided to toss 5 in the trash on Saturday in what was a horrendous round in that 76. But what's interesting about that too is I think that was what his second round of below average golf since Pebble.
Yeah, I think I
And
mentioned that when we last spoke. The first before average round since round 4 of Pebble.
yeah, and so that's a pretty significant sample size. And then to back it up with the 69 on Sunday, I think was important because that's what if you're playing well, you don't you're not going to shoot back to back bad rounds like that. I believe it was last year as well. He ran around this place pretty well after a slow start. So some good course history. I think the confidence is there. Gonna just have to try and find ways to keep the ball in reasonable targets off the tee. I don't think it's too unsolvable. It seems like it's the same issue that's causing these snap hooks. To me, it looks a little quick, with the kind of turnover of the club. Um, really not getting set at the top. But I'm not a swing coach. I'm sure the Texan is hard at work on these things, trying to get better. And I don't have much reason to doubt that getting better is actually happening this year because each of these 3 week stretches have gotten better as they've gone along. So, um, I feel I have I know you guys feel less confident about what's going to happen this week, but I actually feel pretty solid about that we're going to be liking what happened this week.
I
It's
mean,
a little heartbroken that things didn't turn out slightly better.
yeah, I agree with the fact. Jordan did say he thought that he could miss the cut this week. Obviously, I don't want to rule that out. That would be really immature with a player like this. But I don't really see him miss cut this week. I think that would be pretty tough to do. Uh, so I kind of agree with you, Dan. I think it's more likely we're optimistic after this week than we are missing the cut, in my opinion. And I apologize. There's like 4 fire trucks outside my house, and so we were just trying to figure out what's going on. So that's never good. But
Oh no.
I have a
yeah.
joke could make, but I won't make it. You would no, no, no. You would love it. You would love it, Bob. I don't want to make it. I was gonna say they're trying to put out the fire that the scratch gamblers are on.
Yes. Yes.
Just,
Thank you.
yeah, I just had to
Thank
put
you.
that into the
You had to put that there. Yes. Well,
Yeah, I couldn't tease it and not bring it out.
yeah, that would have been really poor. I was just gonna kind of sit here and keep silent until you
It
said
was
it.
in
But thank you.
pathetic.
It's well said.
Exactly.
It's possible. It's very
That's what it
possible.
is.
Who knows? Um, yeah, funny enough, my father actually decided to. I texted my dad because I looked at my dinner bill and I'm like, oh, can you help me out a little bit here? And he's like, no, but I'll send you 100 to put on the players for me. And he
Oh,
ended up
there we
winning.
go.
First time tailing.
That's a deserved win. Well,
Yeah,
it's
that is.
his first time went better than someone else's first time.
Yeah, exactly.
Whoever predicted.
But yeah, no, hopefully everything's okay out there. But yeah, so hopefully we're not putting out any fires on the leaderboard this week next to Spieth's name.
We'll
Because
see.
we did put out a fire very quickly at the players after that run that he was on. But I assume that I wasn't watching, but I assume there was a hot streak next to his name.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
yes.
So
I texted Dan and Dan was at work. Like it was that serious.
it
He
was
made five birdies in a row he birdied 17, 18, won like some tough holes. I'm like, holy crap. It's funny, Dan, you mentioned you're not a swing coach, but I'm pretty sure Jordan's like echoed the sentiments that you're kind of talking about. His tendency when he gets hot, and it's common, is he gets quick. And that'll lead to the left misses because he's feeling himself, and then the swing just gets out of sync. I think that's what Jordan's kind of talked about JT before. Like when JT goes low, he goes super low because he's just able to keep the swing going. Because we've all seen the guy that
really,
gets hot and then just loses the golf swing because he gets pumped.
it's really funny because every time he kills a round by doing something like that, it really is always a left miss. I mean, you think about that stretch in like right after COVID when he was doing all those OB balls, those were always left. 2018 Masters, that was straight left. That is a funny thing to think about now because I've never thought about it that way. But yeah, when he's playing like a really low round and he kills it, it usually is a left miss.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's not sitting back on it. He's just ready to rumble and he gets quick,
Yeah.
No,
which is
it's exactly what it is. And it's always off the tee. It's not,
Yeah.
iron shots are usually pretty well controlled, maybe a hair deep because they're the adrenaline. But I will just a quick kind of sidebar while I brought up iron shots. It's so nice to see darts be hit. Like he hit a lot of shots inside of 6 or 7 feet at the players that warranted the dart emoji and brought out
It can always be the dart
the
emoji.
flat stick inside of 10. So shots like that are what you're trying to do, right? If you're knocking down flag sticks, it means you're picking a target and you're hitting your target. And that is, I think, what just has me feeling the best about it. He's putted well here. Let's just put it all together this week. Stop the
you.
snap hooks.
Yeah,
And I just really believe we'll be in a great spot come Saturday afternoon into Sunday.
yeah. We got to be rooting on these firm golf courses because he's an elite. Hey, the dog, man, the dog of the podcast. That's ridiculous. But the wedge play just remains elite. Looking at the number, he's 97th percentile since January 1st in strokes gained per shot. You mentioned the darts. Data Golf's got the good shot percentage stat, which is what do we got? 100 to 150 yard shots inside of 6 feet. He's at 11.8%, which is 95th percentile. He's just an elite wedge player right now, and it's fun to see again. You get a wedge in hand with Spieth, and it's like, oh man, we're gonna have a good look for birdie. And we've been missing that. It has been a minute since that's been the case. The last few years of this podcast, we've been accustomed to some pretty crappy wedge play, and it's back.
Yeah.
And it's back to being a weapon that, is contributing to his approach game, getting back to, what it used to be.
I think I have to see the numbers on this, but it feels like one of his better seasons inside of 10 feet in a while. Like he's paying him off.
Yeah.
You get 110 from the fairway, you feel decent about the wedge shot being pretty solid, and you feel decent about the putt being a pretty damn good putt. He's missed a few, but nobody's perfect inside of 10, unless they win that week, which again feels possible in some realm. I think a few weeks ago, maybe you talked about having like paths, seeing a path to victory for the first time. And I think this week there's a couple paths to victory.
Yeah.
Um, like
Couple.
I'm bullish this week. I'm not gonna hide it. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I
USD are being placed, huh?
say that.
USD
USD are being
are
placed.
being placed.
If I was a betting man, they would be.
Could be a triple double man though.
It's pretty tough to justify the number is the only problem. Like if he was at his normal 40, 45 to 1,
Oh yeah.
I'd
Well,
I'd even put some
there's a
currency
reason
down
he's
on that.
not. I think so the
Are
other
you
part,
saying the books know something, Dan?
yeah, they're not trying to get burned. They're trying to have
They love
they're,
Spieth.
They
they're trying to
love
get
Spieth.
they know it's a triumph this week, and they're trying to scare people away.
I respect
And
it. Sorry to interrupt. I
no,
had to
go
look
ahead.
up the putting inside 10 feet. He's at 90.15% inside 10 feet,
Yeah,
which is good for 27th on tour.
I mean,
And I mean, last week before the players, he was 16th.
yeah,
So
and that's how you like, and then you add his ability from 25 feet, like not part of what um the strokes gained putting stuff I find so fascinating is that like if you blow a 5 footer, you've lost an eighth of a shot to the field, right? So if you keep stacking up made seven, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 footers, your putting numbers are going to be really good because ultimately you're just not giving away shots and you're building kind of substantial I guess momentum, but also continuing to make. And then you add a 25 footer on top of it, which he's capable of doing. The numbers are going to be fantastic. And that's kind of what we've seen this year is inside of 10 feet, if you get a random array of that distance, he's 9 of 10. And then you add on a 20 plus footer around, maybe another one, and there's your gaining a shot to 2 shots on the field with the putter,
And
which is
Ryan pleasantly let me know that there were a bunch of putts made last week from inches off the green that weren't counted towards the stats.
yeah,
correct.
So that's nice.
Yeah, no, I think there were 3 that he holed from off the
That's what he
green.
said. That which is always nice. Um, so
surprisingly good analysis from Ryan.
very rare. But trying to think if he had any other poor takes today, but
His players' take got universal hate that we mentioned in the recap.
Dan, did you hear this?
I'm not sure I did.
He believes that starting next year, all history should be thrown out the door, and the players should be a major, and the PGA should be a signature event. He believes that PGA championships in the past should count as majors, but starting next year, the players should count as a major. Doesn't get much poorer.
That's a take.
You don't seem to hate it. Wasn't a
No, I think making the PGA not a major is crazy. But I do think I also and I don't really like making the players a major. I just think it doesn't need to be a major. Just make it the players. Like
yeah, capital
however
letters and all. Yeah.
right. It's
Um,
not like we call them majors and they all mean something, but like I don't really care that much about Schauffele's win at Valhalla. Like that's a
Yeah, that's
major.
fair.
But I'd rather have Cam Young's win at the Players, I think. And maybe that gets lost in the context, in 60 years, people are gonna be like, oh, Schauffele's got a PGA. That's better than Cam Young winning the Players. But if the Players keep delivering tournaments like they have and winners like they have since it moved to March, over time that's just gonna change people's perspectives. Like this was an awesome
It
player.
does sort of seem like the PGA back to the end of the summer is inevitable at some point.
I wish it was. We talk
I
about it
think it
every
is
year. It's
inevitable.
like the year ends for our guy.
Yeah,
I
but
feel
now that in the last few years, with all the schedule changes, it definitely seems like if they move the like the early spring tournaments to the summer, the PGA is going to go with it, and it's just going to be a completely new schedule. But um, who
great
knows?
for our guy, Bob. I mean, our guy is not a dude that peaks early in the year typically. I mean, he did last year at Phoenix, but I mean,
I see it.
No, yeah,
I mean, if they move it back, I guess I wouldn't be too upset.
what do we have to
And
look
then,
forward to in August?
yeah. I mean, I guess then May becomes a little interesting, but I mean, if you're gonna
The
have all these
players could go
signature
back to May.
events, like I like the Players in March. I'm not moving it back to May. And I don't think you need another like here's
The,
another big tournament.
the Trump Championships in May.
yes, the
Trump.
fifth major.
He's got 2 wins in the Trump this year. That's incredible. Player of the year, one major, one Trump, or a major in the players.
I can't
You
wait
just
for
have
I
like
can't wait for Doral.
May just becomes the Trump series.
I mean, in fairness though, May's got two signature events. What other I mean, I guess you have the players and API, but it's like, is the
Yeah,
players even a signature event? Or is it just the players?
no. See, that's what I think it needs to just be the players. Like embrace the fact that you are the players and you're not a major, but you can still put on a better golf tournament than the PGA. You can still put on a major-esque tournament, but you're gonna do it in the PGA Tour's fashion. So I think what's interesting too is that it sort of feels like the players should kind of be like the championship. Like that should be the FedEx Cup, but you can't really have it in at the end of August or the end of the season. Maybe you could. Maybe Sawgrass in September would be unreal.
The grass would be dead,
Um,
I would think.
yeah, but that's kind of the issue. It's like
Just
it's the
move the
PGA
players back to
Tour's.
May.
I, yeah, I like it in March though,
I think it has its identity in March now.
and it
Yeah, I
it
was lacking
helps.
that.
It
I
helps
think
that
this
it's
tournament
got
helped.
7 elite winners since it moved to March. Like all
Yeah.
the guys that won it, I think the OWGR average is like 4 point something. And it does help that Rory won it twice, Scotty won it twice.
Spieth
But
didn't win it.
you also had the two Cams and oh goodness.
Decky. No, Decky's didn't count.
No.
Thomas
Tom
won it.
well, yes, Thomas.
Ugh.
I believe it
Never.
Ever
was
since
Back
Rory
to
Rory.
won it.
May.
It was
Back to
Rory,
May.
COVID, Thomas,
Smith.
Smith, Scheffler, Rory, Young.
Yeah. It's
Like
funny too. When Siwoo won in 2017, he was 332nd in the data golf rankings
right.
out of
That
nowhere.
that makes it not a real tournament.
Next lowest player, the 2002 champion, Craig Perks.
Oh, the Kiwi. What is he again?
132nd in '02.
Wow. What's his
Yeah.
thing again? The Cajun Kiwi.
The Cajun Kiwi. Yes. Craig
Yes.
Perks.
Great champion. Craig Perks, players champion.
Make sure to remind me.
That's awesome.
That's incredible. I mean, that's what a deserving champion. They brought him up on the broadcasts on ESPN Plus quite a bit.
he had his own segment when Spieth was on All Access.
Really?
Because they had like the automated yeah. Did
Perks.
you watch All Access? Oh, you didn't see All Access on Sunday, did you, Bob? It's pretty
No.
cool. It's all like there's no audio, and every hole, Trevor Immelman's like breaking down the hole in his great South African accent, and like in between shots, they had like different like top shots to players, like champions, like talking about their Craig Burks.
Yeah.
All Access is cool. Like it's a shame. Like I was
You know what
telling,
Craig Perks' best major finishes are?
probably not high.
Well, I guess not according to Ryan, but some could argue it's a solo one at the Players.
Wow, this is pretty incredible. His best finishes all came in 2002.
That's his year.
It was his year, and his best finishes are cut at the Masters, T29 at the PGA, cut at the Open, or sorry, cut at the US Open, and T50 at the Open. He
Yeah,
played on the Korn Ferry Tour for almost his entire career.
And one of Players.
and one of
And one
players.
That's awesome.
Highlight of the
He
Cajun
played the
Kiwis career,
final
man.
holes 3-3-3.
I mean,
Great champion.
yeah. That's a very like high integrity career.
Yeah.
So much so that you might take that over Saracen.
Well, of course,
Perks didn't
but
You might
cheat.
rather have the career of Perks than the career of Saracen.
any guesses as to who the runner-up was in that tournament?
I'm looking at it. That's funny.
Any guess, Dan? You won't get it.
I don't know.
You would never guess
Yeah, I
it.
feel like I won't.
Steve
Because it's
You know
not.
Ames.
I mean, this was like,
it's Steve Ames.
I never realized that
incredible.
Stephen Ames was a Trinidad and Tobagoan.
What? I thought he was Canadian.
No. Born in
That's
San
insane.
Fernando, Trinidad and Tobago.
Wow. He's a players champion as well.
Yeah.
Wow. I got some great champions with the players. Sheesh.
Yeah.
Any more Valspar? Sorry.
He
so
did.
you can't.
He rigged it and moved to Canada when he was older and put his nationality there.
The Sabatini strategy.
Yes, the Sabatini. What is Rory Sabatini up to right now?
I'm
That
shocked
was
he's
my
not on the live
question
tour.
as well. I've not heard that
Yeah.
name so like yes. He screams live. Do you remember when
Silver
Did Spieth hit
medalist.
into him?
Silver medalist.
did Spieth hit into him or did he hit into
Yes, Spieth hit into him.
Correct. Nice.
Spieth said the last guy you want to hit into.
Yes, 17.
He's a great
Oh, man.
champion.
And,
He is a
and
great champion.
you know what's funny is like if that wasn't Spieth, like Sabatini might have gone back there and beat the shit out of whoever that was.
Probably.
Like I think Spieth is not a guy you're gonna go beat up by any means.
Currently 49 years old. He is waiting for the Champions Tour.
Almost there.
Two events in 2024. None since.
Were they good events in 24?
No.
No.
No. Miscut at the Corrales Punta Cana and a miscut at the Charles Schwab.
Ooh, we played the Chuck Schwab.
The fact that he
That's-
still has tour status in 24 is crazy.
That's a good one.
He is currently an NA on the official World Golf Ranking.
Oh, that's unfortunate. That's the beginning of the end right there.
Just wait till he randomly qualifies for the U.S. Open at the Cock this year and is T4 after day one.
You mean after he beats Spieth in the qualifier to get into the U.S. Open?
We're playing at this rate. Mr. Spieth will not be at the
That's fair.
qualifiers.
That's fair. Do we got anything else on Valspar? Or do we get the triple double?
Yes, I would love to get into triple double as I am a great champion in the triple double category.
You are the leader, and you have the pole position to go first this week.
I do. Actually, this is not really a week where you want to go first, but I think that means I'm first at the Masters.
That'd be true. Because Dan will
Wow, that's
have
cool.
Houston and I'll have Valero.
It's sick too because I haven't used Rory or Scotty, and I don't really want to use them right now, but um,
Don't have to worry about it
oh,
this week.
oh well, yeah, don't have to worry about this week. Um, I'm going to go with Jake Bridgman to open up.
That's
I knew that that would be a name you guys were going with.
You serious?
speaking of, before, because Bridgman's number one in my model. Where do we think Spieth is?
15th.
Um, 15 is a great number. I'll say
That is
21.
a great number. Bob's closer, 13th.
Which is really good to hear because your model doesn't like Spieth.
No, he's outperformed it every week. I mean, it's going to be a tougher ask this week, but
Yeah.
his highest prior to that was Genesis at 23rd. So
Hmm.
He played pretty
Well,
well that week.
Had Jake Bridgman this week.
that's a good one to
Okay.
use.
Yeah, it is. He might be 13th in your model. He's first in mine
Number one in your heart.
and my brain. We're going Jordan Spieth.
Alrighty.
Oh,
I knew that
wow.
was coming.
First overall. Could have saved him till third.
I gotta figure out my other two picks.
Have you used Spieth yet? No.
No.
Bob used them. You've used Jordan Smith.
Yes. I believe I did that at Sony, correct?
Yes.
I
19 grand he
remember
got
that. I'll go
you.
Jordan Smith. I believe was my verbiage.
All right, I got two. Oh, I don't know why I'm going back. I'm going back to Ben Griffin.
Yeah, that's
I
so nasty because like it's such a Ben Griffin week too, but it's just he could throw in a stinker at any moment.
he needs to, yeah. I am waiting for him to come out of his cocoon. I haven't used him yet in triple double. I thought I did. I must have bet him in a matchup, and he lost that matchup if I recall, and that's
Mm.
why I've been upset with him. But we'll give Ben Griffin a go. My second pick, I will go with a guy I think the scratch gamblers are wagering on.
Oh no.
Um, yeah, I'm gonna go Matt McCarty.
Oh, okay, yeah, we did cut him last, but I like him
All
this
right,
week.
he was cut. Okay, got it. Yeah, I'll go McCarty.
Former scratch gambler champion for us though.
Yeah, it seems like it could be a McCarty week.
Yeah.
Have you used him yet? I don't think so. You've used him, Bob.
I think I used him the week that he thrusted for us at the Amex. Got us the without Scheffler victory.
No, you used him in Phoenix where
Oh,
he missed the
that's
cut.
perfect. Yes. Yes, he did. Perfect. All right, Daniel.
I will go with Mr. Hitsatsune.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
Tokyo Man.
Yes. Playing some good stuff.
Yeah,
Also a
yeah, he's most tipped this week, which is a little scary, but I think he'll play well at least.
T4 here last year. That
Yeah.
is scary.
I think he'll play well, though. I don't think he'll win, but I think he'll play well.
Well, it was either
If he
him
wins,
or Greg Cook.
Greg Cook. Who?
Infinite odds of a top 10 for Greg Cook this week.
Oh, that's tough for the Cook camp.
yeah.
He's last in the model.
You will not believe who is in this field at the bottom.
See, Chuck Hoffman.
Chuck Hoffman is in the field, but you gotta go a little further down on the day to golf.
I see Mr. Toasty. Jeff Kang. Who am I looking for here?
I mean, come on, 10 years. Threw
10
on the green
years.
jacket.
Oh, Dan Willett?
Mr. Willett.
Oh, interesting.
How does Data Golf like Dan Wilt's chances this week?
Data Golf has him plus 250 to make the cut.
Oh, not in great form.
Don't underestimate Dan Will.
But correct. See, that's the other thing that as Spieth starts to get into contention again, it's like you got to remember that all these random dudes are gonna start playing, having the weeks of their life.
Yep.
Like no bogey hoagie. Dan Willett will be back.
Yeah.
Henrik Norlander will be
Chris
6 under
Kirk.
on Saturday.
Yes, and if you're going down the odds board, you can't look past Phil Mickelson at the majors.
No, absolutely not. Making his return this week. We forgot to
Yes.
mention that.
54, the
I've already
54
set my
Masters
alarms.
score.
High Flyers back in air.
But how about like Pontus Nyholm,
Pontus.
the Swede?
I mean, these are the non-signature events, man.
We are deep down the board here. Like, are we playing Bryce Garnett this week?
Just Big Bryce.
Mr. Pavone, not very far up. Jeez.
No.
Or Mathieu.
Pavone was the leader for Player of the Year not too long ago.
That's true.
It's very true.
Very true.
Yeah,
Bob, you got next 2 picks, I think.
I do. We're going to go with someone playing pretty well. Just need putts to start going in on the weekend. The German, Mr. Matt Schmid.
Oh,
Matty.
thought
Yes.
you're gonna go with Jeremy Paul.
No.
Or scratch gambler favorite, Steven Yeager.
Yes, yes. Diego May's favorite golfer. And then I will be going with Corey Connors.
Ooh,
Corey Connors.
an interesting one.
Last week.
I liked him. My model liked him at the Players.
Well, we're not betting him because we think he's too much of a loser, but I like him to play well at least.
He is a loser.
He does not have much win equity, but
Neither does Dan's first selection.
No,
no.
probably neither does my third. But we're gonna try and be early on Sung J M.
No.
Love it.
Sung JM has some of the lowest win equity you'll find around the block. That guy will just nuke the ball striking numbers every season at some point, and he'll never win.
He just started playing 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I know.
I think I'm probably 2 months early, but why not? I don't want to waste a Hovland here.
No,
Even though I'm very tempted.
Better now than never, Dan.
I did make up a little ground last week, but I'm still firmly in third place.
You are.
Yeah, you weren't here in the Players recap when we discussed Bob taking home $4.5 million.
Yes.
That's
I thought
I
he
was
had Fitzpatrick too for the longest time. I thought it was
Yeah.
gonna be him too, and it was over before it even really began. But
yeah. I mean, we discussed. I think the halfway point's about the Heritage,
boy,
so we got plenty of events to go. But it's, I mean, yeah, Bob's got a nice little gap now.
I've already blown a McIlroy for 0. So
Well, I blew a Morikawa for 0 last week, so we're in the same boat. I was gonna ask you guys, do you think I could like make a sub since he literally withdrew after 1 hole? But I didn't go there.
I think
But
the Dan board might have approved, to be honest.
to be honest, I mean, FanDuel refunded him, so I don't know. Did every book refund him, Bob, or was it just a couple select ones?
Just a couple
All right.
select ones. Well,
It's
MGM was the only book without injury. Like there's some books that have like if they were like if they come out injured in the first like 5 or 6 holes, they'll refund it automatically. And then there are books like MGM who decide to be really nice, and their CEO was like, "We'll refund all these bets." Like so,
Good
but no,
people.
not every book.
That's
Not
all
every
good.
book. Yeah, well, since you didn't, I think the rule just has to be going forward. It's no.
Yeah, no, clearly.
So,
Life will go on, but my last pick, I'm gonna go someone with some win equity. I'm gonna go Nick Taylor.
Champion.
Yeah, he's a champion. He likes to pounce. He's a 5-time PGA Tour champion. That's kind of crazy.
He
Using him,
rarely is in contention and loses.
yeah. I'm gonna go Nick Taylor. I think it's a decent course fit. Using him for the second time this year. I used him at Pebble. Went so there. Tough week. Not a lot of money up for grabs, but you hit a top five this week. It's like 600 grand plus. So we got 9 names. I kind of be shocked if one of us don't when you got 9 names, and we're usually going to. I mean, you went Bridgman, Bob. I mean, you went with the biggest fish in the sea. Um, it's funny. Dan, were you going to use Bridgman if Bob
Yeah.
didn't? Okay,
Yeah.
got it. I was thinking to myself, I want to use him, but is he a guy that you kind of save for the bigger events now? That's what happens with like triple double, man. These guys get good.
Ryan
Like,
says that Jacob Bridgman is the scariest pouncer on the PGA Tour right now.
I mean,
Says he can win absolutely anywhere on besides his first attempt at Augusta.
yeah, I mean, he's played in 2 majors and he missed the cut at both of them. So
He brutally could win at Aronimink.
yeah, he's the best putter on tour, I think, in 2026.
I believe so, yeah.
His putting numbers are kind of insane. Um, who knows though?
We've
Maybe
scratch gamblers have been on Bridgman for years. The fact that we didn't capitalize on his win was very difficult.
yeah.
He's gonna
No,
have to pay us
that's
back.
you guys are on him this week, right?
Yep,
Yeah. No, I think why not this week? He's the best player in the field this week, in
definitely.
my opinion.
No,
But
I don't like that. I don't like when those guys, get,
yeah, I mean, besides Scheffler, it's typically like I hear what you're saying.
but like Ryan Gerard shit his pants when that happened to him a few weeks ago. But oh well.
That's true. I was at the Cog, right? I think Dan used him at the
I
Cog
think so, yeah.
Yeah, that was like a T40.
and Lowry.
And he had to
Lowry.
battle to make the cut.
Shane
Happy
Lowry.
St. Patrick's Day to Shine Lowry.
Yes, yes.
They know.
Thank you for the Nico outright ticket.
Yes. Thank you, Shane, who's missed, I believe, his last 2 cuts since that loss.
Love to see it.
You definitely don't hate to see that out of the Irishman. But that's all I got, guys. I don't know if you guys have anything else.
No,
No.
No, I
for
think
this
that's
week.
it. Yeah, pumped. I hope to be recapping our best finish in an event so far this year, and look forward to chopping it up with you guys Sunday or Monday.
Hell yeah.
Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, talk to you guys then.
Peace.
Peace out,
Take care.
everybody.